boy. Something feels weird. I don't know if we got that when I hit record, but I did hit record. So everybody, welcome back to the Make Trades Great Again podcast. Andy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
We got a fun, eventful morning already in our recording session. You've pretty much remodeled your shop. I keep kicking this doorstop with my foot. That's going to change because it sounds like I'm farting.
Yeah.
But this is a great intro to our podcast because we have one of our friends who is total goofball, but very serious HVAC tech. Goes by he, him. His name is Jason Norman. He's from British Columbia, Vancouver area. Did you know where that is, Andy?
I do. It's north.
North?
It's up.
It's tropical,
up
tropical weather area. Tropical weather patterns, I believe they call that. They get mad when you talk about their nice warm weather because, you know, they're from Canada up north. But anyway, he goes by HVAC Jay on Instagram. Now we've already given you a hard time. Jay, how you doing, man?
I'm doing really well this morning. How are you guys doing?
Good. So, Jay, we got to meet you online and we got to have some fun. I kind of brought it up already. Not to make fun of the pronouns thing, but like I said something a while back and you had written a comment or DM in and we were talking about that message. Andy and I were talking about that message on recording. And I made the dumb reference, like, you know, I mean, I think it's a he, he, him. Yeah. And then you had a great follow up to that. And just to put me in my place, which I deserved at that point, because it's, you know, it's not a funny thing to joke about or anything, but it was you know, the way it happened, it was pretty silly. And I'm pretty good at falling over and making fun of myself, falling over my, you know, sticking my foot in my mouth. Like I just did, like for 4 minutes there, this intro.
When I listen to this podcast, I just find the longer Eric talks, the more likelihood of someone's stumbling over themselves on that. And so it's just great comedy, great stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, pal. I'm going to listen as you and Andy take it from here. No, we were talking before we record and it's cool just to get the details because I had no real factual background on your background, no factual knowledge on your background. And so you've been with the same company, the one you're with now, since your apprenticeship.
That is correct. I was indentured as an apprentice by my current employer that I'm still with today.
So how does the apprenticeship program work in Canada? Like, how do you start that? When we were talking earlier, you said you'd kind of done a little bit of stuff in the trades and then you started your apprenticeship, but what does that entail?
So for like I'm in a red seal trade, HVAC and refrigeration. So when you start out in other red seal trades, whether it's electrical, plumbing, etc., the list goes on, you would find an employer and they would typically indenture you after like a 3-month probation period. And then you would now start accruing hours towards your apprenticeship. And as you go through your apprenticeship, it's usually 4 or 5 year apprenticeship. And then so once a year, you would go to school for 6 or 8 weeks and do like full-time schooling. You would essentially get laid off for that time, go to school, and then you come back and be rehired and just continue to accrue your hours. And once you have completed all your hours and you've completed all your schooling and passed all your courses, you'd write like what we call like an interprovincial exam. So it's like a red seal exam that would allow me to work in any province in Canada.
Oh, okay.
But I went a little bit different. I did like some pre-apprenticeship training before I even found an employer. So I decided that HVAC and refrigeration was something that I was interested in, and I took a 6-month full-time course before I even found an employer and did some training on that and started networking with other young people like myself and trying to find employers. You find that some of the employers actually come to the school to talk to you and recruit you as well.
Did it get... Oh man! Did it get windy?
He's losing it.
Somebody's wrong.
Did it get windy?
Do you not hear that?
No.
Oh my gosh! Okay, sorry
I don't hear
everybody.
anything.
I hope that doesn't get edited out because why would it? I'm over here going, I think it's windy all of a sudden, and I couldn't. I'm looking at Jay talk, and he's smiling. and I'm just losing it, and I'm trying so hard, and I'm so sorry. No disrespect, man.
All good.
So 15 years, and at the same company, you kind of started out differently, like you said. But what do you think of, you're I think it's well established that you're a millennial, and and so you've been working your professional career for a third of your life, or more than a third of your life, almost half of your life, and that doesn't even make sense. Gosh, my math is bad today. I'm telling you, this is one heck of an episode, Jade, for you to come on. I've got this brain fog happening. No, but you've been at the same job or same shop for that long.
Yeah.
You ever get an itch to like try something new or go somewhere else, or are you just treated well enough and you like where you're at?
I think the answer is yes. I have, like, you always think the pastures are greener on the other side of the fence, right? So I've been recruited, let's be honest, and I've had discussions with other people before and contemplated going on my own several times throughout my 15 years, right? But the reality is, like, I've been so fortunate to have a great employer that supports myself and the other guys I work with. It's always been a pretty good environment. To say that every day was a perfect day would be a lie, but you got to realize that, like, not every day is going to be a perfect day. So it's always worked out for me.
Are they bringing in new apprentices to your shop?
Yeah, we've grown a lot. Like, just before COVID, we had like an ownership change, and that was probably a bit of scariness and concern at first. What's the new outlook going to be? But we've grown a lot with the new owners, and we've been fortunate to find some really good technicians to help build our core technician base. And it's really great working with the guys and the customers too. Like, on my darkest days when I'm just like had enough, never mind working somewhere else, it's like I just want to go home and cry today, Some of our customers are really great, and they've honestly kept me around for that long too. Like, I have long-term customers I've known for the entire 15 years that I've worked here as well. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a cool thing. I've got a couple of customers that I have had a personal relationship with since I started too. And it's always cool to go see those guys and gals and, look at those systems. So I don't know. That's one of the things that when I started my business, one of the things that I did miss is that shop camaraderie, and we're starting to get that back here now, as my business is growing, but it's, I don't know. That's cool to have a good team of guys and gals to work with.
I miss the camaraderie of the shop and everything all together. I'm the worst. I take up my customers' time all the time, and I like have to like remind myself, get going, go to the next job, because you've just talked to these people for like 15 minutes and the job's done. And you know what I mean? Like, I do that all the time, I think, because I'm working alone. It's just boring, and I just love the idea I get somebody to talk to. Oh, yeah. Anyway, well, there you go. I mean, Jay, you don't talk to anybody.
No,
I didn't think so. You're doing a lot of commercial, industrial kind of stuff. You've got a gas ticket. You've got refrigeration. You're working on chillers and boilers and all kinds of HVAC stuff. Not just changing filters, right?
No, not just the filters. Not exclusive to water or air. I do both.
Yeah.
But I mostly service and install, primarily service. My joke is, when people ask you what you do for a living, is I make things hot and cold.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not very good at jokes, are you?
No.
First rule of podcasting: be rude to the guest.
Noted.
Oh man, just kidding. So you, I said earlier, we met online, and you were, early on a supporter of the podcast. Thank you. We're happy to have you on. We actually got to meet you in person in Atlanta, Hot Atlanta, as you Canadians like to call it, and at the AHR Expo. What'd you think of that? Big to do.
It was really fun. My first AHR ever, or any big trade show, was I went to Vegas the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bit different to be your first because you had all the restrictions and there weren't a lot of interactions and stuff. It was it was really enjoyable. I certainly enjoyed it, and
Yeah.
it kind of spiked my interest to try to make sure I was able to make it out to Atlanta for this year. But man, this year I had so much fun. So much fun.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
And Andy likes going, I like going, but it always ends up like it's a cross between like a party. We're trying to learn stuff. We don't have enough time, and like a whirlwind of the travel, like stuck in airports or something, like, you name it. It's just, it seems like that was the case for me this year. I don't know, Andy, did you end up getting home on time from AHR? I can't remember.
I think I did. I didn't have any. I had one. Well, my last leg from Salt Lake to Missoula was delayed, but that's pretty typical. It's the last flight out of Salt Lake in the evening to Missoula is always what I'm on. And so they'll hold that flight because there's no connections in Missoula. So they'll hold that flight until everybody's on. Nobody's missing that flight. Like, unless you physically aren't on the one previous. I mean, there's been times where we've sat for 45 minutes or an hour in Salt Lake extra.
Yeah.
Just like, there's 3 people that are on this flight that got delayed, so we're just going to wait for them.
It's better than overnight.
Which is cool. Yeah.
How about you, Jay? Did you, how was the travel in and out of Canada? Are there restrictions going on, like because of the vaccines or anything like that?
Not anymore. Last year we had to get like a COVID test to like enter the US, and then we had to get a COVID test to come back home as well. But this year it was back to normal, I guess you could say, right?
Back to normal.
Yeah. Flew out of Abbotsford to Calgary and then Calgary to Atlanta. It was pretty easy going. I discovered that one of the guys I traveled with, I came down with a couple of my owners and one other technician. And I learned boarding the plane that he doesn't like flying, and he was very nervous. So I definitely had a lot of fun with him on the airplane. And
did you feel that?
I reassured
him. Did you hear
that? Yeah, exactly. I reassured him that it's not in the air that you're worried about. Most of the accidents happen on the land. Like when you're landing or taking off or taxiing, that's when something's going to go bad. So don't worry about the air turbulence.
Yeah, and you want takeoffs to equal landings intentionally. Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly. If you are going down, we're heading straight to the scene of the crash. So at least it's convenient. All the emergency vehicles will be there waiting for you.
100%.
That's right.
They got their eye on the ball in that sense. So Vancouver, you're way over. It's like pretty much yesterday right now in your time zone. As we record early in the morning.
Not quite that bad. I'm just north of Seattle. It's the same time zone as everyone on the West Coast in the U.S., Andy. Or Eric.
Oh, I thought maybe, I don't know. I don't know if it was Russia or what. Can you see Russia from your house? No,
I cannot. No. It's a little ways off.
just a Sarah Palin joke. Sorry.
Yeah. So, you said you were near Vancouver. So you're inland further than Vancouver then?
Yeah, just in a suburb of Surrey. It's maybe on a good day, it's like a 45-minute drive to downtown to go. If I'm working downtown, I work downtown quite a bit.
Got it.
So it's a
what are you sorry for?
Common drive.
Did you say sorry?
That's how we start all of our sentences.
I thought you said sorry. I must have misheard you.
I may have.
No,
I apologize if I did. I'm sorry.
See, there you go again. Did you say Surrey? Is that the name of your town, Surrey?
Oh, yes, I live in a town called Surrey, yes.
Okay, yeah. So it was a bad joke on my end. We've established already.
Poorly played.
Yeah, my brain is 100% fried.
If I had a guest like myself on this wonderful podcast, I'd be a little bit scatterbrained as well. It's okay. We'll figure it out.
How did you find out about our podcast? Like, I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious.
I used to always just listen to music in my work truck, but I drive a lot, like driving from service call to service call in a day. So it's not uncommon to go to 3 or 4 calls, and I just wanted to mix it up. I got tired of listening to music. So I started listening to HVAC and HVAC related podcasts, and your guys's was one of them. And here we are.
Did you know that we're the #1 rated podcast for plumbing and HVAC in skilled trades?
Which number are you again?
#1.
I heard you. I just wanted to hear you say it again.
Yeah, #1 according to my mom.
That's right.
Yeah. We are her favorite. No, every time I say that, I feel like I'm making fun of Andy, and I don't mean to.
It's fine. I can be number 2. That's fine.
Well, I don't hear Andy's mom say anything about it.
No,
so there you go.
I'm pretty sure she enjoys it when she does listen. If
I'm not sure if my mom knows what a podcast is.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, why?
I don't know. Why do you need to know? She's a little bit older, and she's set in her ways, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, I was just trying to figure out why you thought that. I don't think my mom knows. She listens to our podcast, but I don't know if she knows how she found it or anything like that. And I love it because she comments about stuff when we're on the phone or talk together or whatever. And I think it's so cool how much support your family has for you.
Yeah.
And you just take it for granted 100%. You do.
Oh,
I know
big time. I couldn't do this job without the support of my wife. Like 100% wouldn't work.
No,
that's great point. And you've got 3 kids, right?
Yep, 3 young daughters.
Oh boy, your wife is a saint. you're in the heating trade, so and your cold climate, somewhat tepid, I guess. Really,
it gets cold.
British Columbia. Just giving you a hard time. No, so you're working, odd hours occasionally through the winter, and that's got to be stress for your family. How has that been? Your daughters are young. You said, what's the oldest?
9, 7, and 3-year-olds.
Well, 9 years. I mean, so half your career you've been in this, or her whole life, half your career has been in the trades.
Yeah.
And so you don't really probably even remember back to what it was like when you didn't have kids, because it was partially your apprenticeship and whatnot. How is that with the family? Is it stressful when you got to take off and go do a late night install or service or something like that, or days go longer? How has that been with the family?
Well, again, they've been super supportive of it. But yeah, it is hard. There is absolutely times where you miss out because dad has to work. But you know what? The beauty of service, sometimes you're fortunate enough to say, you know what? Dad's done this job at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and he's going to try to get across town and pick up the kids from school. Right. So
yeah.
That was one of my goals as working in the trades, was to try to be able to be there for them, to be at soccer practices. I've coached my oldest for baseball before. It's super taxing to try to make the schedule work for that, but I think it's super important that you try to make the best at it. And that's also why I've been at my employer for 15 years, because they've been super supportive of that along the way. I'm pretty sure they know I'm leaving early sometimes. I'm not entirely certain about that. We'll have to figure that out after this podcast.
Well, they listen, and so they'll check in. They DM us all the time.
Yeah.
They do.
Hey, have you heard from Jason?
Yeah.
Hey, we're trying to find him. Dispatch can't get a hold of him. It is baseball season.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I can totally appreciate that too. And I know Eric does as well, but I remember, having that, seeing other buddies that were not in the trades, that were working the 8 to 5 or whatever. And, or seeing the other dads and moms on the team, with youth sports and whatnot, that were like, oh, I just couldn't get off. I mean, that's just the way it is, and there was always those parents that were, never able to, get to baseball at 5 o'clock. There was always, well, we'll get the kids there, and, somehow, grandma will bring the kids and we'll be there at 5:45, to catch the last inning or whatever. And so I definitely, kind of appreciated that part of it. The company that I was working for was real similar, family oriented company. And they were just like, hey, if you need to do something, let's figure out how to get your stuff done and you can go. And so we've tried to keep that same kind of motto or mindset, with my company, doing the same thing. If Rob's got something going on with Lucy, I just got to know, and it's, it's just like, hey, let's go do it. Cause you don't get a second chance to do that. So you got to make that time for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's even a little bit harder, and it's, for you to say that and do that, actually follow through, Andy, like, is big, because you're not a huge company.
Right.
So like if you had 20, 30 people out in the field, one taking off to go to a softball game today and then two tomorrow, like you can kind of make that work a little bit easier than if you have 3-4 people total.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the reason why I'm starting to reap the rewards is we used to only be about 4 or 5 techs, but now there's about 12 or 14 of us. So it makes it a little bit easier for the techs to try to make something happen with their own personal schedule and have it jive with work. So
yeah, that's great.
Less on call too, which is nice. Oh man.
Well, just to echo what you guys said, Heather and I raised 2 boys. They're off and kind of building, starting their lives now as young adults, but can't tell you how many times I was able to go to a scout event or, go see the science fair thing in the middle of the day just because, self-employment allowed me to do that. It cost me money to not be out working, but I was able to, because of our jobs, the kind of work we do, I was able to say, you know what, I'm going to not schedule work right this 2-hour block so I can go see the 3rd grade, rocket launching that they all, or the egg drop or whatever it was like. And hey, looking back all these years later, those are the memories that they get brought up. Like even my boys will say, I remember that time that, that one teacher I had and we had that thing and you came. Yeah. And they remember that too,
They do.
It's huge. Don't ever stop doing that, Jay. I'm just telling you, like, I know you won't, but it's the coolest thing if you can be that parent that does show up. I rode in the back of a couple school buses to the zoo for the field trip and I hated every minute of it. Like, just like with every fiber of my being in the moment, like it was painful, but you put up with a little bit and what you come away from with, the memories and it means so much to your family too. It's so cool to be able to do that.
Yeah.
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 All right. So we talked Instagram earlier. You're kind of an observer over there. You don't post a whole ton of stuff. Not every day, not all the time, right?
Not every day, all the time, but sometimes. I really enjoy it. We had a group chat at work, and so sometimes I'd like make the odd meme and put it in the group chat. And then it was one day I decided that maybe these memes aren't the most professional memes to share with my coworkers. And so that was kind of my own personal motivation to make Instagram. And so all the things that make me giggle and smile during the day, I just decided to post that kind of stuff to Instagram. This trade can be, like we talked about earlier, very taxing. But like if you can smile and have fun along the way, it makes it 1,000 times better. Like, yeah, we got to do a really crappy job today, whether it's heavy or whether you're going to get wet in the rain or stinky, whatever it might be. But if you can have some fun with it with the guys or by yourself and just laugh at your own self, like I really enjoy that kind of stuff. So I've had a lot of fun with that. Does
your company have any kind of policy against like doing social media or anything like that, like officially? While you're working?
Officially, no. Unofficially, I've spoken to my owners about it, and they're like, we like it. It's great as long as you're respectful of it. I have certain sites that, like, obviously, I can't use my phone when I'm walking around recording in a police detachment or something like that, right? They kind of frown upon stuff like that. But if you got a quick couple minutes, I find my phone's out anyway because I'm taking a picture of the nameplate. I'm taking a video of the motor not working so that I can go downstairs and I can have the information I need to quote the job or to show the customer the unit, because essentially all the stuff I'm doing is like magic. The customer doesn't understand. They just know that they're uncomfortable or their process doesn't have heating or their process doesn't have cooling or the clean lab's down. That's all they really care about is everything up and running, right? So if you can show them the part that's broken, it makes that conversation to get something looked after right away that much easier.
I've been struggling here lately because I find myself a little less in the field, and I keep thinking, well, maybe I should take a picture, or like share what I do in my daily life as the business owner or whatever, and what kind of things you're up against. But I go, it's got to be pretty boring, But I don't know.
Well,
I got to figure out how to spin it.
You can get creative. We don't want to see pictures of your desk if that's what you're thinking.
Right.
Well, you could do like a get ready with me, and then just like open up your desk and like pull all stuff out of your desk there. That would be perfect. Some of the funniest things I've made is like my little transition video I made for HVAC Tactical when I dropped my phone and then it popped back up and I was wearing my suit. Or my other personal favorite was I had a job downtown in Vancouver. So I decided that I was going to like, after every job, it just so happens there's a nice coffee shop beside all of them. So I stopped at all of them to get a coffee from one job to the next. And I did like what I eat in a day as a refrigeration mechanic. It was basically just me going from place to place drinking coffee all day. But you know what? I love it. It was funny. If no one else loves it other than myself, then that's fine.
That's right.
Yeah.
You've pleased number one.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody else does love it, but
no. But here we are.
Here we are. I feel like some days I need to do a video diary like that. Like, here's what I eat as a service plumbing and heating contractor. And then everybody in the comments were like, dude, you need to stop. You're going to get heart disease. Yeah. You know, like, I might lose some weight just because they'd be like, it's like the fourth time you had Chex Mix today.
Yeah. Or the other side of it, it could be, here's what I eat in a day. And then there's just nothing. And then it's just like a cup of coffee. And then that's your day.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Still drinking this mug of coffee. It's been cold for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you a out to lunch guy or you pack a lunch?
I'm let's make an extra plate for dinner and then I'll take that for lunch kind of guy.
Nice.
I've grown so accustomed to having like not having anywhere to like heat up a lunch that like I honestly don't like to heat up a lunch if I bring a lunch out. It just seems weird to me to heat up your food so that it's enjoyable. It's like, no, I'll have it cold.
You'll eat all your food cold.
Yeah.
Ah.
I just don't have
Do you
the
not
patience.
warm it up and then put it in a cooler to keep it warm like through the day for at least warm?
No, never.
You understand HVAC. Let me bring you in on this. I'm going to blow your mind here in a minute. Glass container. Okay.
I'm with you.
Glass like takeout container.
Yep.
Warm up your leftovers. Wrap them in a towel. Put them in a cooler.
Well, there you go.
Then when it comes time for lunch, this stuff is actually like not cold. It's going to blow your mind.
All right, we'll try it out.
I remember, working the new construction jobs, back, I don't know, previous employer. And we always had light boxes.
Yep. Hot box.
The hot boxes on the job, on the floor, in wherever our break area was at. And, morning coffee break, you go back and, okay, everybody get the light boxes out. And we get these boxes out when they had like 150 watt light bulb in them. It was like an electrical
Just
box.
a plywood box.
I gotcha.
Oh, we had the electricians had made them. They were like a gasketed, electrical switchgear box.
Oh no, ours were plywood boxes.
Yeah,
with a floodlight in them. We just call them hot boxes. That's all.
Yeah,
and like a couple of metal cheapo gate hinges on it, and like a latch. Like there you go, and you put your food in there, and by the time lunch came around, it was pretty hot.
Yep, put your soup in there.
In Canada, we don't call those hot boxes. We use the term hot box, but it's meant in a different regard.
Yeah, I know. Okay, Cheech. That's what we call it. We call it a hot box here in Minnesota. I was trying to teach Adam, completely cordless, Adam Sperry, what a hot box was, because he does electrical, and they're way out in the middle of like this Iowa farm field, like couple thousand acre. I don't even know. It's like 10,000 acre job site where they're literally running power in for like 2 miles. No kidding. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they're trenching in and encasing conduit and I don't know, vaulting it or whatever in concrete, all this stuff. And they got job trailers and the guys are freezing their butts in like all these microwaves. I'm like, what do you need microwaves for? And he's like, how do you not? Like, we got to eat our food warm. It's wintertime. I'm like, well, okay, easy, Iowa. It's like not that cold. And then second, why don't you just get hot boxes? And he's like, what the hell's a hot box? I'm like, it's not cheeching up your car. It's a plywood box with a light bulb in it. And they're like, whoa. He's like, I don't even understand what you're saying right now. And he laughed at me, and I'm like,
you can't use an LED.
Yeah, you can't use an LED. Sorry. You gotta track down some incandescent lighting here. Might be hard to find. But honestly, that's the most efficient way when, like you were talking, Andy, like the big job sites where you've got, whether it's 5 guys or 100 and you're sharing job trailers and stuff like that. It's just a lunchbox basically. And you go in there, hot meals, change your day.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you're eating that cold food, Jay. It just drives me crazy.
My,
I'll microwave mine and it stays pretty. You'd be surprised.
I have my cold food, but you know what I will say is I do have like 3 sets of clothes in my work truck. Like one set of clothes to like change into, like to go home in if you got really dirty. But essentially, I have like 2 sets of full rain gear, pants and jacket, and like a winter parka coat in case you're working in like a really cold freezer all day, and a couple sweatshirts. And it's key just to be able to like go have a coffee at 10 o'clock or lunch in the afternoon and be able to change and put on clean rain gear. It's so nice. The best is when the apprentice is soaked and he looks at you coming out of your work truck or whatever, and you're like in brand new clothes, fully dressed, ready to go and start a new day almost, right? And he's just drippingly
Just
uncomfortable.
soaking.
Oh yeah, just soaked, right? And it's that line from Dumb and Dumber where it's like, oh, you had a second pair of gloves this whole time? Yeah, yeah, of course I did. It's cold, man. It's Aspen.
Yeah. Aspen. Yeah, that's Samsonite. No, I'm the same way in the winter months. I have a like a low profile Rubbermaid thing that fits directly between the seats of my van, and it's just clothing.
Yeah,
like it can change your. It's like having the hot lunch, like you're saying, like it can on the right day at the right time, it can make all the things better.
100%.
Yeah.
That's definitely a huge tip for anyone younger listening and trying to figure out stuff. Never mind the big fancy tools. There's so many different fancy tools you can do to make your life easier. Just have an extra set of rain gear and an extra set of clothes in your truck will literally change your life.
Well, and a pair of socks and a spare set of tennis shoes.
He's got me. That's where I was going next.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's my thing. So definitely. There's a pair of shoes underneath the seat, and it's like, well, I don't wear them all the time, but when I do, it's nice.
I won't buy a pair of boots. No, I like these work shoes that are out there. Some of these work shoes are really nice. Keen's got some good ones I like. I've tried. But when it comes to boots, like I'm 100% has to be waterproof because I don't know anybody that loves wet feet. You know what I mean? Like I don't know anybody. But it's just that constant, like, okay, I wear the same pair of boots, same style, everything, no matter the season. Because rain or mud or, it's still snowing here in Minnesota and it's just nasty, gross because it gets pretty warm during the day and it's just sloppy. And wet feet are the worst. So, Andy, I'm right there with you. Even if you got to switch over to a pair of shoes, if they're dry and you have new socks on, like, come on.
Yeah.
It is. That's a great tip, Jay. Thanks for bringing it up.
Hey, anytime. Even if it looks like a nice day out, I'll get a call to a mechanical room and a boiler will be blowing its relief and the floor drains are backed up and there's like 3 inches of standing water in there. And you're like, well, I guess I got to go in here and turn off the water. And what was going to be a nice day, now my non-waterproof boots are soaking wet. But no, like you said, just be prepared every day.
Well, they don't make safety sandals yet. OSHA approved, so otherwise I'd probably wear those in the summertime.
Asymmetrical carbon toe safety sandals.
Yeah. Get my Jesus
like Crocs,
Birkenstocks on. Oh boy. Well, I think that's a good way to end it right there.
Yeah.
Solid life tip. Hot boxes, warm food.
Hot boxes.
And even better, have a good good change of clothes. I need to probably take some of the snacks out of my van. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Beef sticks.
Too many beef sticks. Too many snacks in there.
A couple almonds is always clutch. Almonds are clutch.
Yeah, but now when you eat them by the truckload, like that's my biggest.
You got to put them in the back.
Oh, there's a bag.
You got to hide them in the back, and then that way, you're going to the next service call that you didn't expect. Then you go grab your handful of like angry almonds as you eat to go to the next call.
There you go.
I don't know why we didn't just start this whole podcast. Should we start over and you just give us all the life tips here, buddy?
Let's do it. Yeah.
No, I give you a hard time today, I know, but it's fun and I knew you could take it. So thanks for coming on. I do really appreciate it. What do you got coming up? You got any cool new things happening? I think you're going to be on another podcast here pretty soon, aren't you?
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Let's give him a plug. Give us a plug here.
We got Pat over at Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. He's growing leaps and bounds over there. So I'm going to go hang out with him here shortly in a little bit, and we'll see what's going on with them. He's got his buddy Dusty on there, and I believe my good friend and Red Seal Inc. brother, Matt Waxer, the HVAC doctor, is going to be on there as well too. We're just going to hang out and talk about some stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm glad to hear Pat's got such a cool lineup happening. He's trying to grow that podcast, and he's a cool guy. He's such a nice guy. He listens all the time. I hope he hears this when I tell everybody. I think Pat's such a really nice guy. He's a lot better looking than you.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Well, hold on here.
Just kidding. Just kidding. It's only funny because it's true. All right, dude. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. You get started on your day. I know you probably got to go back to bed before you go to work. Given the time zone location, you can see Russia from your front door.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Andy, anything else you want to add?
I got nothing.
Nothing additional.
He's got nothing.
I just
is good.
I'm like a vacuum. I just pull all the oxygen and air out of the room.
Just suck it.
Well, thank you very much for having me, guys. It was lots of fun hanging out.
You bet, dude.
Absolutely.
Stay up on the DMs. Let us know your thoughts and prayers about every topic as you do. I really do appreciate the feedback.
Thank you.
All right.
Yep. Thanks.
Stay on. Don't go anywhere.